Hi, my name is Thais Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about the I am disrespected core wound and how it can be a trigger, especially with an FA. So we're going to do a deep dive into this. This comes from a question from one of our members in our members lounge. And before I dive into all of this, I just want to let you guys know we are wrapping up our Boxing Week sale soon. And this is for 30% off our all access membership, our lifetime membership, and basically both of these memberships give you access to everything. So literally all of the courses that are previously recorded. We have over 40 on everything from reparenting to codependency, enmeshment, boundaries, attachment style reprogramming, how your attachment style shows up in the different phases of a relationship, the dating phase, the honeymoon phase, the power struggle phase, etc. And emotional mastery belief reprogramming, subconscious mind reprogramming tools, literally tons of courses in there, sort of a little treasure trove of stuff. So check that all out. They each come with a very lengthy workbook with a whole bunch of step-by-step exercises. And then on top of that, I do 4 live webinars a week with our students. And we have our attachment coaches running different events, mastermind groups, morning and evening routines, all over video chat. So it's like social and you can connect with people. And hopefully that helps a lot with isolation right now as well. So check that out. I'll leave a coupon code in the description box below, and I hope you enjoy this video. In this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the idea of the I am disrespected core wound and some of the extreme anger and volatility that can come with it. And especially as it relates to the fearful avoidant attachment style individual. This is actually a question I have from one of our community members. And they said, which attachment style is most likely to be associated with feeling the extreme disrespect trigger and then escalating into rage? And something I really want to focus on here is the trigger itself comes from an old trauma. So this person goes on to sort of talk a little bit about some of the things they're seeing in their relationship dynamic, which honestly isn't healthy. And I just want to be really clear to anybody that if you find yourself in an unhealthy relationship, it doesn't matter how traumatized, how wounded somebody is, it doesn't justify their unhealthy actions towards you. Like, we always have to walk this really clear line as human beings between being able to empathize and be compassionate, but not to use our own empathy and compassion for somebody else to then violate our own boundaries, right? You might see that somebody has a huge wound, I am disrespected, but if they turn around when that's triggered and they are operating in a very unhealthy way towards you, that doesn't justify it, right? We can have compassion, we can have empathy. If somebody apologizes, takes accountability, and isn't crossing any major boundary lines, like maybe they just make a rude remark once in a blue moon, and you're like, excuse me, that needs to be corrected. Please don't speak to me this way, and it changes. That's one thing. But if there's any extreme anger or rage that's coming off of somebody, even if they're so wounded, we can have compassion, we can love that person, but we can set a really firm boundary so that we can be safe and so that we can protect ourselves at the same time. So I just want to highlight that because that was a part of this person's question. And they were wondering sort of like, what if the person goes into rage? So let's talk about the other part of it, which is the feeling of extreme anger when the I am disrespected trigger is activated. So usually where this comes from for the vast majority of people is some kind of blatant disrespectful treatment in childhood. And the more disrespect is there from childhood, the more when somebody acts disrespectfully to somebody with an I am disrespected core wound in their adult lives, the more they're basically going to be angry, frustrated, hurt, because they're not just experiencing this moment of the disrespect, they're experiencing whatever they're perceiving in this moment of being disrespected, combined with all of the previously stored emotion around this wound that's flooding to the surface. And like I always say, our subconscious mind is like a filing cabinet. It stores everything, and it stores everything with all of the emotion intact. And so when somebody sort of pushes on a button of yours, a core wound, all of that stored emotion is sort of flooding to the surface in a way. And that's why we can feel disproportionately reactive to something. And we go, oh my gosh, I should be reacting like a 1 or 2 out of 10. And I feel like I'm like a 9 or 10. That is always a signal that an old trauma wound has been activated and brought to the surface, okay? And that means we need to clean that up. That means we need to do the reprogramming work around that, heal that, free ourselves from that. Because when we don't, not only do we have that wound as a human being and we're carrying, and you can sort of imagine it's like all the wounds we carry are like a bag of rocks we carry on our backs through life that take our energy, take our time, distract us, make us misinterpret things. How, it's a big challenge to be carrying a lot of core wounds, and it's a lot of freedom to release them. But they spill into our relationships, and then we have hurt people, aka people with more rocks in their bag. Hurt people, right? Hurt people. So when we're hurting, we're more likely to hurt others. And that's why we have a duty to the people we love around us to actually do our healing work so that we can show up in a healthy way for the people we love, and especially for the relationship to ourselves. So fearful avoidants are the ones most likely to experience this core wound, and especially in a traumatic way. So especially where there's like disrespect in a way that's like, maybe mean, maybe abusive, these sorts of things. And when somebody's experiencing extreme anger or volatility, it's almost always a subconscious strategy to protect themselves in some form. So if this wound comes up and then there's all this pain, activated, usually all of that pain being expressed and being, outwardly pushed is because this is a subconscious strategy of overprotecting from having to relive many of those experiences again. But again, it still doesn't make it excusable or healthy. So what I recommend is, if you're a fearful avoidant and you notice that you have this core wound, yes, it can happen with anxious, preoccupied, and dismissives, but the extreme anger or volatility doesn't happen to the same degree. Even secure people can have this core wound, but it's just going to be much less. It's going to not be as loud and as intense. A lot of that extreme anger is sort of symptomatic in a way of a most likely fearful avoidant attachment style, or at least somebody with fearful avoidant edges to them that's experienced a lot of trauma around this wound. So hopefully that makes sense. I hope that there's some clear pictures and principles. I just wanted to make sure I reinforce there about our boundaries and showing up in the relationship to ourselves, and a little bit of what we can do about it. And please let me know if you have any other questions in the comments below. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're getting a lot of value out of this channel. And I will see you in the next video.